Harrison Jackie RV10 project. I'm intentionally not letting you see inside the airplane right now because something exciting has happened. Maybe we can see through there. What is it? It's not green anymore. All right, so last video, which was over a month ago now, and I think I shot one in the meantime, but I never posted it, but whatever, I digress. We had talked about two things. Number one, we had talked about these two tubes here, but on the other side, and I hadn't unscrewed the other side yet, so sorry I can't show you. But those have been taken care of. Let's see what else was on my punch list. Oh, my stupid mistake where the nut plates that are behind here were on the outside. Well, now you can see why I had to flip them, because this has to screw to it. So yeah, I got that fixed, obviously. Like I said in the video, that was probably an hour and a half worth of work. It wasn't that bad. But more excitingly, excitingly? That's a new word? Maybe, I don't know. Since the last video, number one, we got the floorboards installed, which those are on the left and right. So floorboard right, okay. The seat pans were installed here and here. Future builders. So when you're installing, you put these in, but you only rivet down like this back row of rivets. You don't rivet these rivets initially at first. And you think to yourself, well, why am I doing this? Why don't I put them all down? Well, because if you're going to use normal rivets, when you rivet the floorboard, here, let me zoom out a little bit here, the floorboard for the back seats, those rivets, you need to get behind there to buck them. Or you can do like myself and several other builders have done, and you cheat and you install, let's see if I can zoom in here, you install pop rivets or pull rivets in there, so it doesn't matter. So if you plan on doing pull rivets, go ahead and do it. Okay, so obviously we have painted the interior. Now 90% of this gets covered back up with panels or carpet anyway, but it's painted and it looks gorgeous as I was painting it. I came back out here this morning. Unfortunately, the temperature is like right at the temperature. It really needs to be a little bit warmer. There are a couple of little boo-boos, and because I like showing my boo-boos, then I will show you guys. Two of these are related to the fact that there was runs in my primer and I didn't notice it until after I was spraying paint. At that point, it was a little too late to fix it. So I just painted over it and discovered what actually happens. So if I can zoom in here, maybe you guys can see this, see how this is run. That's not the paint that ran, that's actually the primer that ran, and then I sprayed paint over the top of it. Guess what happens when you do that? Looks like your paint ran. There's another one over there in the floor that no one will ever see. This one gets covered with carpet, so no one will ever see. My panel over here, that was actually paint that ran, and I didn't notice it, and it may have had to do with the temperature was really dropping when I shot that. If this was exterior, then I would sand it down. You won't be able to see that either. That's right there where the panel is, and I'm pretty sure the panel is aft of that little run. And then, so then there's this one here, which this one you can barely see. I did see this one as it was happening, and I cleaned it up a little bit and resprayed it, but I was running low on material at that point, and time and temperature and yada, yada, yada. So, but yeah, we masked everything off. We got all the panels installed, and we got everything painted as best we could. I discovered that painting interior can be a real pain in the rear, because getting into places like back here, you can see there's still a little bit of green there in the back corner. And that's just because you can't get the paint gun around to it. I mean, it's really difficult too. And then you end up spraying it and then thinking, oh, you'll end up with too much paint on before long if you just keep spraying. So, but yeah, there's another. If I was going to do another coat, it probably needs one more coat. As you can see, it's a little thin there on the sidewall. You can see the primer coming through. But that definitely gets covered with the panel. And you'll never, that green there, you'll never see. And once again, there's green over here on this side too. Let me turn on the light and maybe need a little light on the situation. See a little bit of green back there? Yeah. You will never see that because obviously if you're back there, then you're working on something on the airplane and you'll completely understand that it's green. So, also since last time, the sub panel, sorry, I pulled it out to do the painting. It'll go right back in today. It's not actually riveted on. I don't know when I'm supposed to rivet it on. I may actually rivet it on here pretty soon because I'm planning on not doing the skin until after the instructions have you do the skin now. And then you basically take this out and you set it like I've got it here to do all the work on it. And then you stick it all back in the airplane. Well, I'm doing this a little bit opposite. So I may go ahead and just rivet this on now to the firewall because I'm not going to rivet the skin on until I'm well done with avionics. But all these little items that have been on my punch list, a lot of them I can start taking care of now. But all these panels, as you can see, there's all these screws that are sticking out. And basically what I did was I just took those Lowe's screws and stuck them in and turned them down a couple of turns. And basically that's just simply to keep the nut plates from fouling. And the result, as you can see there, is you end up with a ring of where there was the primer and now there's the paint. And it kind of shows you not where everything's supposed to be, but you'll never see that ring because that seat pan cover will cover it and the seat's going to cover all of it anyway. So about the only areas that I think that are still visible after the fact are these panels here. And then let me come around here to the other side of the airplane. And I could be wrong, but the bar here is still visible. So I made sure that I had good coverage on the bar. And then I'm pretty sure that the panels across the other side of the baggage compartment are still visible. And it looks like I got good coverage on all of that. The corrugation is such a pain to paint and prime. So you guys who are building now, I know it's frustrating, but anyway. So the plan is to take up all these panels and most of them will go up into the storage area. Yay. Rudder pedals that you see up there, those are the white things. Those are coming down because those are getting installed here in the next couple of days. We're going to start working on the rudder pedals because I'm going to get them powder coated. And so I need to get them drilled and deburred and cleaned up and over to the powder coating company so that way they can get taken care of. I'm going to start working on brakes and brake systems, brake lines, all kinds of cool things. My doors here, I can install the hardware now. I'd left the hardware out because I wanted it out while I painted. So that way I didn't have to worry about fouling it up. And then the door is installed as well. And during painting, originally I had it closed and I opened it up and so that way I could paint the flange around. I've already got the weather stripping, so I can install the weather stripping now. And then when I did the hinge, I copied a gentleman up in Minnesota, and I was able to, I just noticed I have another run there. Yeah, and that is an actual run from me, not from the primer. Thank goodness this is all interior, and that's going to get covered up. But I made my hinge removable, so you can pull this, pop this hinge pin out and then pull it down. I did it not so much to make it removable, because I don't know how often I'm actually going to remove it, but it's more secure now, because now you can't remove the hinge from the exterior, because now, otherwise, the way the factory tells you, or the instructions tell you to install this is kind of like so, and the hinge pin is right there, and if you're pretty, you could bend this aluminum in, push the hinge pin down, bend it in there, grab that hinge pin and pull it straight out. And now you're inside my airplane and taking whatever you wanted. So yeah, that was the main reason why. So speaking of punch lists, what I've done over here is I've created a whiteboard. Well, I didn't create the whiteboard. The whiteboard was upstairs and Jackie and I were using it. Jackie was mostly using it for school stuff, but I have now started using it for me. And so up in the top left-hand corner is my skipped items, things that I know that I need to be doing here soon, that or semi-soon, like vent hardware, because I was waiting on the paint, the baggage door ledge, I was waiting on the paint. For top scan, I'm waiting on for a long time. So anytime I skip a major step for some reason, then I'm writing it down up there. my to order list. I also generally keep this on my phone, so but that way I don't have to find my phone and put it in, and then I'll get distracted because I'll read some email and yada yada yada. Now I can just go write it down. My next is mostly set away if I'm leaving something for the day. I know what I'm doing the next day. And then the awaiting deliveries, because I've got a lot of things that are out there right now that I'm waiting for the delivery. And as you can see, air conditioning was supposed to have been delivered this week, and I haven't even heard from the guy to say, hey, your air conditioner's on the way. So hopefully that'll be here soon. Because, not that we're waiting on it, but we will be here soon. Next up, obviously, we're removing all the access panels. And then once all the access panels are up, we're going to start working on fuel lines and brake lines. That shouldn't take me much more than a week or two at most. I'm thinking probably a week to get all that done, get the rudder pedals in, get the control stuff in. So those cables, those steel cables that you see down here, that came out the back end over there that have been there for probably 3 years now almost. Those will finally get hooked up to something on the other end, to the rudder pedals. And the stuff that runs the control columns and all that's all going to get installed here probably in the next 2 weeks. Hopefully by Christmas all that's done. That's kind of my plan. I do go back to work, so my time may become somewhat limited. And hopefully by then we definitely have the air conditioner in, because then we will probably pretty much be needing it, because it goes back here in basically this space here, and then this space here get the air conditioner. And I don't really want to install much back here until I know where that air conditioner is going for sure. So we're still working on it. Let's just put it that way. So, and then the oxygen system goes in, blah, 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 blah. And then lots of electronics and avionics and wire, and it'll be wire pulling season. And we got to start making all this stuff work. I need to cut a hole in the side of the airplane back here. I can do that now. That's not waiting on the AC system, for the ground power unit. And so I've already got everything I need for that. And then basically what I'm planning on doing is getting the airplane to where I can plug it into ground power and power on systems as I'm installing them, and to do some kind of testing. However, I'm using the VPX system for my electronic circuit breakers, and I can't, in order to turn on the VPX, I need to have at least one screen functional on my Garmin system to make that work. So that's kind of what we're dependent upon now. So anyway, thank you guys for watching. I'm sure this video is like super long at this point. What are we up to? 13 minutes? Yeah. But we had lots to show you, lots to catch up on, and lots to tell you about. So thanks for watching.